Hey, welcome back to my basement. You should join a study. So I've done a few studies now. I just wanted to tell you what it's like because I've been involved in a few now. So first of all, they typically want adults, 18 plus. If you are younger than 18, but in your country you're a legal adult, they always have contact information. You can ask them if you're still eligible. Sometimes they might accept minors, but you will need your parents' permission, and they almost always want fluency in English. And since it's all done online, you need a reliable internet connection. Then they'll ask you a few details. They want an email address. It's all online. They need to contact you somehow. You can make another email address if you're not comfortable using your main one. They'll ask how old you are, your country. Depending on what the study is, they might need other information. If you have any diagnosis, if you're on any medication, things like that. It's nothing really too probing, at least not in my experience, but that's basically what you're going to be looking at as far as personal details go. So when you click on the link to a study, you answer a call for participation. It will take you to a page with a bunch of text that will outline exactly what they want to do. So it'll say what they're studying, what they need, what they're going to do. So like the first one I did was an interview on Skype. It was like an hour long, but that was it. But we just talked for like an hour. I did another one where I had to answer some survey questions every night for 14 days. I did one that involved an app that needed to be downloaded to the phone and had to check in at least once a week for 8 weeks. And some of them are just one-time surveys. You'll spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes or something filling out a survey, and then that's it. Thank you for your contribution. So you go in there, you read that page. It outlines that you can drop out at any point for any reason. You don't need to give them a reason. Just peace. And there's always a little paragraph in there titled risk, outlining any risk to the participant. The most I've ever seen in one, though, is that some of the questions might make you uncomfortable. But if it's too uncomfortable, you can always drop out. And don't worry about if you're a good candidate or not. They'll figure that out. After that first page with all the outline of the study, it takes you to a survey, usually takes you to a survey. The questions are going to depend on what the study is about, but all of them include the MDS-16, the Maladaptive Daydreaming scale, and they will vet their participants. Sometimes they might send you an email asking for more information, like, hey, your answer to this question was weird. Can you clarify? But they know what they're looking for. You don't have to worry if you're not what they're looking for. You can, if you want to give it a shot, you can just fill it out. And if you're not right, you'll get weeded out. No big deal. So that leads us to where? Where do you find these? The best place, and the website that I recommend every MDer look at, is the ICMDR, the International Consortium for Maladaptive Daydreaming Research. And it's a great resource. They have tons of stuff. There's a research page with all the papers that are published. It's my mom. I should have turned my phone off for this. What was I talking about? There's a publications page, research page, links. There's a measurements page where you can find the diagnostic criteria and a few other things, and the MDS in a bunch of languages. Important to this video, there is a news page. So if you go to the news page, at the very top, there are some little boxes that will ask you to join their newsletter email list or whatever, which I recommend you do. They do not spam your inbox. I only get an email from them when they've published to the news page. And it's always something big, something cool. And that's where they put calls for participation in studies. Then right below that box is a few options to filter the news feed, one of which is open calls for participation. So you just click that, go in there, and pick one. Unfortunately, they don't seem to be on top of updating it. So some of the older ones in there are not actually active. But it'll tell you right away. If you click on them, it'll take you to a page that says, sorry, the survey is no longer active. There's a few other places you can get them. There are a few researchers who have Reddit accounts, and they will post to the Our Maladaptive Dreaming subreddit. It's Our Maladaptive Dreaming, not Maladaptive Daydreaming. Thanks, Steve. The most recent ones are usually pinned to the top, and there is a Join a Study button at the top, but that just takes you back to the ICMDR open calls page. And you do not have to have a Reddit account to look at it. The Discord will also ping everybody when there's a new call for participation, but you do have to make an account for that. So maybe not for everyone. And Facebook actually gets quite a few. The Maladaptive Daydreaming Facebook page, the one with the purple banner, the woman in the purple dress, that one, has quite a few members and had some researchers as members. And not just research, all of these communities will also post or have members posting calls for participation for journalists and filmmakers and things like that. So if a study isn't something you want to do, maybe an interview. They will also usually tell you exactly what they're expecting. If it's just going to be a phone call and, it's just unofficial background information, or if they actually need someone to appear like on video or something. But again, if you're just not into joining the larger communities, I would recommend just signing up for the emails from the ICMDR. So yeah, that's it. It's not too bad. It's not too scary. Even the interview ones are pretty chill. These people are professionals and psychologists typically. Talking to them is very easy. If you do click on a link in one of the communities rather than through the ICMDR, make sure you read all the material that they provide before you agree to it, because lots of different people will post calls for participation. You might not be working with an MD researcher. It might be an undergrad or even a high school student who is working on a paper for their coursework, which is fine. I mean, I do those too. But just be aware of what kind of study it is and who is doing it. Look up names, stalk them a little bit, especially the journalists. No offense, journalists. So yes, in conclusion, do one. It's helpful. A lot of the studies can actually benefit you. The treatment program was a pretty cool one that had pretty direct benefit, even if they didn't quite know if it was going to work or not. The comorbidity one was cool. It was the first time I'd ever talked to a psychologist about maladaptive daydreaming, and one who actually knew a lot about it. And it furthers research. It doesn't matter what you think MD is, if it's a symptom of something else, if it's a unique disorder, if it's not even a disorder, it's just some thing that people do that shouldn't be pathologized. They need that data too. So think about it. That concludes my video. Goodbye.